How much of an effect do you think that the words that you say to yourself have on you? Do you know that you can change the very course of your day, your week, your month, your year, just by changing the words that you say to yourself? Words are powerful. In my video, when I talked about how to overcome fear in 13 minutes, I gave you 3 tips that I used to overcome my own fears in setting up this YouTube channel. If you remember, I talked about losing my shame about being scared. That was number 1. Number 2, I had to admit that I was scared. And number 3, I had to get control of my self-talk. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. I want to build on that. I want to give you 3 tips to start to really use self-talk to overcome your fears. So before we get into this, if you like this video, if it's useful to you, please like, please subscribe, please share, please comment. I want to say thank you to all 169 subscribers that we've got so far. Our first goal is 250. So if you're listening to this and you haven't subscribed yet, then you could help us to hit that target. It's early days for this channel. That's our first goal. 250, help us to get there. Okay, let's get into it. First, I want to talk to you about how powerful words actually are. And I'm going to give you an exercise. I want you to try to say something negative while having a big smile on your face. Okay, let's try it. So for instance, big smile on my face. I'm feeling really crappy today. I mean, I'm even laughing at the end of it. It doesn't work. Try it the other way around. And I want to show you what's happening with your mind right now. If you fold your arms, now we all fold our arms differently. Now, if you're doing it the correct way, then you've got your right hand on top of your left arm. If you're doing it the other way, then we just pray for you. No, I'm joking. Look, whichever way you fold your arms, now change it. Do it the other way around. How does that feel? That feels weird. And that's what happens in your mind when you attempt to say something positive with a really bad expression on your face, or if you try to say something negative with a great expression on your face. Try the other way around. Put a frown on your face and say, I'm really happy now. It doesn't work because physically it's really difficult. And the reason why is because your mind can only hold on to one thought at a time. I told you about faith and fear. They've got the same definition. The definition of faith is the belief that something that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. And the definition of fear is the belief that something that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. So I want you to begin to live with more faith and belief in yourself. And the way we're going to do that is by controlling the thoughts and the words that come out of our mouth. So that leads us to number 1. I want you to revoke the permission that you've given yourself to make you feel inferior. You've got to revoke that permission today. And how do you do that? You start analyzing your words. Start paying attention to the words that you are saying to yourself and the thoughts that you are having. Start analyzing it. And once you start paying attention to the words that you're saying, especially the negative ones, the fearful ones, the ones that are not serving you well, I want you to write some of them down. And when you write some of them down, what I want you to do is read it back to yourself and think about this. If you had a friend and they came to meet you and they started saying some of the things that you say about yourself, if they started saying those things to you, how long would they remain your friend for? Think about it. Because we give ourselves permission to say some really bad things to ourselves about us. But you wouldn't give anybody else permission to do that. So you've got to revoke that permission that you've given yourself. The negative words, the negative thoughts, they lead us to places of fear. And we've got to get out of it. So every time your thoughts or your words make an application to reinstate that permission to make you feel inferior, you have got to reject it. And how do you reject it? You've got to challenge it all the time. How do you challenge it? That leads us to number 2. This is how you do it. You never let a negative word or thought go unchallenged. From this point onwards, you never let another negative thought or word that you are saying, that you are thinking, go unchallenged. How did I do it? I use 4 words. I talked to you about this YouTube channel. I talked to you about the fears that I was having. What did I do? 4 words up until this point. 4 simple words. But what it did for me, and it continues to do for me whenever I get fearful, whenever I have a challenge, whenever I doubt myself, I use those words up until this point. So when I was thinking of having a YouTube channel and I was saying, nobody's going to want to hear from you, nobody's going to like, nobody's going to subscribe, I kept saying up until this point. And it just sounds like words. And in my video on fear, the first one I did, I talked about tricking my mind. I didn't trick my mind, I programmed my mind. I programmed my mind to understand that up until this point, that was the truth. Beyond this point, it's going to be different. Now, that's what I use. You can say from this point. You can say until now. Another thing that I say to myself a lot of time is nope. I just use the word nope. Whenever that negative or fearful thought comes into my mind, I'm just saying nope, nope. And this is one that I have had with me for decades. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And I'll tell you where it comes from. A lot of time I get into a state when things get a little bit overwhelming. We all have very, very busy lives. And I'll get to this point where I say, I'm fed up, man. That's something that I've said so many times. Now, over the years, I always challenge it. And I always say, no, I'm not. Or no, you're not. It's got to the point where I don't do it consciously. I don't have to think about it. Anytime I kind of heave and sigh and say, just fed up, man. Immediately the thought or the words just come out. No, you're not. I don't even think about it. It's just become part of me, of who I am. And the minute I think it, the minute I say it, it immediately begins to lift my spirits. It's become the norm for me. So when you let fear take charge and be in charge, then what happens is that you make emotional decisions. And you back those decisions up by facts. So you'll say, I can't do something. That's an emotional decision or emotional thought. You'll start looking around for the facts and the reasons why you can't do it. And you will let fear take over. And sometimes you might be rationalizing. That's telling yourself rational lies, allowing yourself to stay in a comfort zone. You've got to fight your way out of that comfort zone. You've got to come out of there. And you've got to keep on challenging those thoughts and those words on a day-to-day basis. Now that leads us straight into number 3, which is to make the choice to control those words and those thoughts. You've got to make that choice to do that. Let me tell you about me. I'm not full of myself, but I do love me some me. I do really like myself. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I like about myself. I like my little round head. I like my little round head. I know that there's some people watching this YouTube channel right now and they are absolutely amazed because they are probably saying, come, darling, honey, come look, there's a talking Malteser on YouTube. There's a Malteser, he talks. I like my little round head. I like my nose. When I was growing up, people used to say to me, you got a big nose. And I used to say, well, that means I'll never lose my glasses. The only thing is I didn't wear glasses at the time. I now wear glasses. And it's true. They never slip down. Some people might say, why are you putting yourself down? I'm not putting myself down. It's just a fact. I've got a round head. I've got a big nose. And that's what it is. But I love it. And you know what I love most about me? I love my crazy mind. My crazy mind. I love the fact that I'm sitting here and I'm having to think. Don't say that. Don't say that. While I'm doing this YouTube video, I'm filtering out all this stuff because I'm a bit nuts. But we're all nuts. We're all crazy. But then we have fun with it. What do you like about you the most? Give me 3 things. What do you like about you? And when you know what you like about you, get in front of the mirror. This is something that I was doing for years. I don't do it that much now. I do it before I come on to do my filming. I'll tell you why in a minute. But when I was building myself up and raising my confidence, I'd get in front of the mirror and I would literally, especially, I do it when I have a talk, a presentation, or a meeting to go to, or, it's just a sales meeting, talking to investors or anything like that. I would talk to myself in front of the mirror and I'd say things like, look, you're a cool guy. I really like you. We had fun yesterday. You know what? We had so much fun yesterday. I'm going to hang out with you today again. Look, we're going to do this presentation later on. And I'm telling you something, they're going to laugh at all your jokes. They're going to love everything that you say, the products that you've got, they're going to buy. That's what I used to say to myself. And it worked. Get in front of the mirror and talk to yourself. I told you right now, there's a mirror just over there. It's just off camera. And it's there because I like looking at no, I'm joking. The mirror is there because just before I start filming, I always check myself to make sure there's nothing on my face and my t-shirt. But the last thing that I do before I start filming is I look at the mirror and I say, it's going to be a good one. What are you going to say to the mirror? What do you see when you look into the mirror? Get in front of that mirror and start telling yourself some good things about you. Right. From this point onwards, we're going to work together and you've got choices to make. For instance, you're choosing to sit and watch this video right now. You're making a choice to not switch off. You're making that choice to like and subscribe and to share the video. You're making that choice to make a note of my birthday and send me money and gifts on a regular... No, joking. But okay, I'm having fun with this one. When it comes down to the choices that you are going to make, you are going to choose whether or not this is going to work for you. Because if you sit here and you think, well, those tips that you're giving me, they won't work, then you've got a choice. Because you can either implement them and see what the results look like, or you can make the choice to do nothing and you can make that statement or that thought right. It's up to you. You see, most people know what to do. They just don't do what they know. And that's a choice in itself, because they don't not do the things that they know because they don't want to. They let fear get in the way a lot of the times. And if you're trying to use these tips and you're finding them hard to implement, then here's a tip. Use my declaration. If you're not sure what I mean by my declaration, at the end of this video, I'll point you to my videos on declarations that will make the goals that you set very easy to hit. Okay, look, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint. It's going to take us some time. You have to do this again and again and again. Your future is going to be hidden inside of your daily routine. It's what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis. It takes about 28 days to begin to form a habit. So you've got some work to do, but don't be disheartened, because remember, a 1% change every day makes 100% change in just over 3 months. So you've got some work to do. Look, you're on your way to mastering your mind. And why do I say mastering your mind? Because your mind is a terrible master. It is a brilliant slave. You have to be the master of your mind. You let your mind be the master, you put stuff in there, it will take you all over the place. You've got to master that mind of yours. And you're never going to be able to fully eliminate fear. Well, I don't know for you, but for me, I can't fully eliminate fear from my life. I think some fear is useful. But what I do is I manage it enough and I control it enough and I make sure that it's not in charge. So look, you've got to go and get busy. You've got 3 things to do. You have to revoke that permission that you've given yourself to be mean to yourself, to talk bad things about yourself. You've got to revoke that permission. And every time that your thoughts or your words make an application to reinstate that permission, you have got to reject it. Number 2, you've got to never let a negative word or thought go unchallenged. And number 3, you have to make sure that you choose to control those words and those thoughts. Now I've got another video to go and make. So in the meantime, you keep on being amazing, because you are. Speak soon. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, then check out this video here where I use these same tips to overcome my fear of starting this YouTube channel. Also, we are well on our way to our first goal of 250 subscribers, and we'd love you to subscribe and help us to get there. Speak soon.